Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I love the nurses that come and see me.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
Since I learned about Angel Care, I would recommend them to anybody.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. Thanks as always to the producer and editor of our series, behind the camera, Jeff DeRaw, and joining us from Eagle Communications and Eagle Television as well, Brandon Cooley. As we welcome Bill Ring, Ellis County Public Works Director, to Community Connection today and find out a little bit more about the transition Bill made to Public Works. Let's talk generally about the area of responsibility now at Public Works for the county, Bill.
Ellis County Public Works comprises of 4 divisions. We have the landfill out on 55th Street, which handles all the waste for the citizens in the community, and then all the cities bring their municipal waste, the Hayes and Ellis and Victoria. And it's actually a transfer station. We don't bury that debris out there. That's transferred down to Garden City. The only debris we manage and handle out there that's buried is what we call C&D, which is a construction and demolition. 2x4s, concrete, things along that line. Then we have the Environmental Planning and Zoning Department, which is located in the administrative building down at 718 Main. And they do the septic tank permitting, any environmental concerns, the planning and zoning that the county has laws on the books for right now. And they're continually updating those to fall in line, working with the city because we have the 3-mile zone and we have that, area of, dual responsibilities and whatnot. And then we have the noxious weed department, which we're required to have that to sell chemicals to the farmer, and they can buy them at a discounted rate. The county eats part of that, if you will, so that they can manage, must thistle and things like that. We have staff of 3 out there, and then we also do commercial spraying for them. If a farmer doesn't have the availability, we can go out and do that on any noxious weeds. And we also spray for KDOT, Kansas Department of Transportation, the state highway roads that run through the county, being 183 and then the interstate. So they go out and they patrol those, and we do all their spraying for them. And then finally, the biggest part of it is Road and Bridge, or what they used to call the Highway Department, which is located out on Old 40 and 280th. And that's where the largest majority of the work is done because we've got the most people.
And you also have a lot of miles to cover, and of course, obviously, roads are something that affects everybody every day, I think, Bill.
That's correct. We've got about 1,300 miles of road, and of that, only 140 is actually paved. I think there's 7 miles of concrete over on Old 40, so we have a lot of maintaining to do on a daily basis.
You've done an excellent job of getting those numbers down already, Bill.
Well, we constantly report them. I mean, that's one of those things. We do an annual engineering report, which is where they're included on the first page of that. But also, there's a lot of questions about that, and people want to know. So, and when we do our calculations and meet with the various engineering groups to figure out what we're starting right now to look towards what we're going to pave. Paving season for us starts around June.
Well, and those roads that aren't paved, there's obviously the wear and tear of traffic, in weather concerns that are always impacting, and so it's a never-ending process. Isn't it?
It is. We have 12 territories. We have 12 road graders that are out there almost every day. The operator takes care of his specific section. So if you break it out, they each have approximately 100 miles to maintain.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
And then we have 3 backup graders we keep at the shop just in case if we take one down for routine maintenance. It usually, to work on a grader, it's not like going to get it to the quickie oil changing. I mean, it's like a 2-day process. So we have a backup grader for them to be able to take right out because, again, we want to keep our maintenance going. And then should we have any extended problems, and then we have a rotation where like this year, we just we passed a through the commission, we got a bid approved to buy a new grader, which will be coming in probably within the next 2 months. And then we'll take the oldest and most houred grader out of our fleet and trade that in.
And that's not a cheap process right there, I'll bet.
Now, a grader without trade-in is about, right now, about $250,000.
Wow. For one.
Correct.
And that's with seasonal discounts too, I'm sure.
That's with all the government discounts and, and twisting the salesman as best we can, but that's where it comes out of.
Okay. How about number of employees overall in Ellis County Public Works?
The whole Public Works Department is allocated with 53 staff members.
How you doing on employees? You pretty well at staff now that you need?
We're in the process. We had 2 openings from right before the Christmas season, and so they've done the interviewing, and we're going to review the applicants, and that's for 2 truck driver positions. And then we have 1 other open position at the landfill right now.
Bill, what influenced your decision to enter public service field? You've been doing this a while. You've also been a candidate for city commission. You've been involved in public service work for a long time, I think. What drives you?
Well, and when I moved to Kansas in 2003, I had just finished, I think, 27 years of my own business. And moving out here, I just wanted to be able to do something and maybe give back a little bit. And in 2006, I started for the Red Cross. And I'd also spent 3 years earlier working with Habitat for Humanity, getting that chapter set up here and building the first, started building the first home in Ellis. And then from the Red Cross, I transitioned to the county as the emergency manager for 7.5 years. And with Mike Graff's passing the year before, Kurt, our road supervisor, was the interim director, and he actually didn't want the position. He'd rather stay on the roads, and which he likes, and that's great. He's a large asset with 33 years of experience. So the commission approached me about taking over Public Works, and we talked through it and whatnot, and I said, I don't know much about actual road building, but I do know, because in my former life in Florida, I was in the heavy truck business, heavy parts business, equipment, things like that, so I'm fairly well versed in that field of what that's the biggest part of the operation. So we talked about it, and I said I'd give it a shot, and I thoroughly enjoy it now. And I also had worked, for the last 7.5 years with the folks out there through various disasters and cleanups and different things that emergency management and public works go hand in hand. I also, they take a lot of our emergency management classes where, like to write a debris plan, which is required by FEMA. And Mike Graff, had sent a bunch of the staff, and he also took the class, a 3-day class. And we have an approved FEMA plan now, so when we have a disaster like we're working right now, we can manage our debris appropriately.
Glad you mentioned that, Bill. I'd like for you, if you would, to let us know a little about the process that's been involved from that September 2nd flood, I think it was, on the Saline River. Really created a huge challenge for Public Works. Tell us a little about that.
Well, we're required by the various state agencies, Department of Water, the biggest one is to make sure that the streams are not blocked. And with the amount of debris that was washed in from the high water, I mean, we had water like we haven't seen in years come down the Saline. I mean, it raised Wilson over 5 feet in a couple of days. And all the debris, as it starts to float down the river, gets caught up under the bridges. We got to get those clean. We got to keep the water moving. The state decided to declare a disaster. We had declared one as the county at that time, just because of the amount of debris and road damage and washed out areas. We had a lot of roads rarely impacted. Then the total for all the counties involved has to reach a $4.1 million threshold for the state to apply to the federal government, which it hit well over the 4 million mark. And so, and I'm going real quick on this because it's very complex, very involved. So the federal government did in fact issue a declaration. And so now we're in the cleanup process. Our estimated damage to the county is just a little bit north of $500,000. And with the FEMA declaration, we should be able to see 75% of funds and then 10% more from the state paying us back, which will save the taxpayers just a tad under 400,000, because we have to clean it. I mean, we have to fix the roads, we have to clean the debris up, we've got to manage all the issues. So if 85% can be reimbursed to us, it's a big shot in the arm. It does tire folks up because we don't get extra people. But again, like I said, no matter what, if we didn't get a declaration, we still have to fix all those roads. We still have to clean out the river bottoms and all the debris out from around all the bridges.
And I guess from what you told me, it's a huge amount of debris that has to be disposed of.
Oh, that's correct.
In an environmentally safe manner.
Exactly. There's a cradle to grave responsibility they talk about, because now it's sitting there and we have to dispose of it properly. We've got permits. Again, there's 7 state agencies you have to get permits from to be able to burn it on site close to where the debris is being pulled out of it. We have to get permission and right of entry for the farmers that are allowing us to use their ground for the burn sites. And then once it's burned and everything's taken care of there, we still have to take all the ash and the residual, take that to our landfill, bury it out there, and then go back to the farm ground and basically try to get that back. If it was natural prairie grass, we'll plant some grass, but make sure it's clean and there's nothing left. And so that within a year or two, you'll never know that we were there.
Yeah, return it to its original state.
Correct.
Uh-huh. What about the length of this process? How long do you suppose this, it's ongoing now, so how
Correct.
long is there a time frame?
There's a 180-day time frame from the date of declaration, which was October 20th. So we're supposed to be done by that time. But there's always allowances for issues, one being weather, which, when you're trying to do a cleanup in the middle of the winter time, we lose a lot of days. We've lost weather due just to extreme cold or like the recent ice storm, things like that. We have to also maintain the roads in the county, or it may not be safe to keep people out there working. And so if that occurs, then we can apply for a 90-day extension on the 180. Hopefully the way we're moving, we might just make it and get it all taken care of. And then we can go on to all the things we do in the spring and summer as far as getting the roads back in shape and then rebuilding roads as needed.
There's always a to-do list of public works.
There's a large list out there.
Got a couple of minutes left, Bill. Would you comment briefly on the recent commission, department head, and outside facilitator meeting, which took place in one of the bringing people together to discuss some goals and outlooks and where you're going? It
was a great opportunity to, because sometimes, you can talk to the commission individually. Under state law with the Open Meeting Act, you can't collectively talk to them unless it's in an official meeting. So they made that a meeting where we can then, the business of the meeting was to discuss the future of the county, which gave us the opportunity to just sit and look at the future, look at the past. The facilitator was great. He brought in some various ideas and to how to look at it. His basic concept was the helicopter view, where we looked way from above and looked down it, and then looked at the past and then looked to the future, and just the way a helicopter can traverse. I mean, it can go and then to see collectively what we thought were our strengths, our weaknesses, our goals, our successes, things that didn't maybe go so good. So we could align all these and then collectively come up with some long-term goals for the county as a whole.
With fresh eyes looking at the situation. Okay. Response on the ice storm that occurred in our final minute here?
It was a quick response for us, because the guys at all the drivers for the road graders and the dump trucks with the plows and the sand spreaders and whatnot, they're all on call. And they do a great job at that. And so we continually, and I watch the weather as I've done for years now. I bring a fresh set of eyes to what they see, because I'm constantly on radar.
Yeah.
But we just keep them on. And then the day of the ice storm, we brought everybody in. The phone calls went out at 4:30. And, it's again, if it's safe to travel, which they've kind of got to be there, but take your time and get there safe. And we had everything ready to go. I mean, we spent 2 days prepping, getting the trucks, make sure they're all, got the sand spreaders on, the plows on, everything's working, all systems are working. And then as much as we can, we put it all inside so that it stays warm the night before and it's ready to roll out. And I think we had 14 or 15 guys out trying to get the roads in shape right out of the chute way before daybreak.
That's why I love doing this kind of thing, because Bill, it tells us the planning, the thought, the commitment that you and your employees put into this county and to making it what it is, and a very enjoyable place to live. We thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Bill Ring, Ellis County Public Works Director, our Community Connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
My Angel Care physical therapist taught me how to do exercises safely.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
It gives us independence in our home.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.